Hey everybody, and we're back. Now we're going on to grout. Now that the tile has set up, gonna mix up some grout, and then you'll see me putting the grout in, applying the grout, and I'll show you how to do that correctly to actually get it into the grooves like you're supposed to. I already cleaned the tiles. Vinegar and water cleans the tiles, and it's just to clean the thin set off and any dust and any debris or anything like that. Made sure all the grout lines are clean so that when I go to apply the grout, it actually goes in where it's supposed to, and I don't have anything causing any problems. So here's the mixing. I'm mixing a small batch on purpose because I don't want to waste any if I don't have to, and it's not a really big bag of grout anyways, and I want to make sure it goes as far as it should. Grout will set up while you're working with it. Anything that you have to mix or anything that's supposed to dry will start to dry immediately, and so you just have to be mindful of what you're using and then how much you're mixing and how fast you have to work with it. Grout needs to be closer to a mayonnaise to maybe a little bit lighter than that consistency, because it has to go into all the little grooves. It's going to be kind of wet to work with. That's what you think about when you're mixing it. I'm using a paint mixer, which will be fine. That's a bit too wet for my liking. If it's too wet, it'll create gaps in the grout after it dries, and it could be just weak spots after a couple of months or so of it being in there, and so the grout will fall out. You don't want it too wet. So add a little bit more powder. Try again. Getting there. You want almost like a cake batter consistency with this stuff, but it also depends on if you're putting it on the floor or on the wall. This stuff's going on the wall. On the floor you can go a little bit more wet, and it won't hurt it too much, but it'll dry. It'll take a lot longer to dry. That's more like cake batter, which is what I want. The other part is, since this is non-standard grout, it's more of like an epoxy. You want to make sure that you mix up, or you carry in some water and a sponge, because it almost immediately needs to be wiped off. When it dries on the tile, the grout, because you wipe it over every part of the tile as well as the grout lines. So when it dries on the tile, it's a bit of a hassle to get it off. And so I'm going to put on, apply grout, and then I'm going to almost immediately wipe it off. When you wipe grout off, you wipe it in the same way that you applied it, which is at a diagonal to the lines. And then you have to wash out your sponge a lot more than you would think, just because otherwise you're just reapplying it from the sponge. Whenever there's spots of grout that are missing in little areas, I've done it before, and I've seen grout or tiling professionals do it as well, of just grabbing some grout with their fingers and pressing it into the spot. You still have to smooth it out, you still have to make it uniform, but that's kind of what happens if it's on your sponge. It'll press back into the spot, or it'll wipe back onto the tile, so you got to be careful of that. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down, one wall at a time, just to keep it uniform and easy to keep track of. Actually, rather my grout dries up and then this gets stuck on here. I should tell you how much I don't want this to dry right now.
directions, same cross directions that you grouted. But paying attention to the grout lines to make sure you're not causing any bubbles. You don't want your sponge too wet, but it also can't be too dry. It's kind of a learned thing here on how wet, how dry it can be. You want all your grout lines to look clean, nice, not soaked, and also get all that grout off that tile. It'll be a hassle and a half later on if you don't. Got a hole that opened up right there. I'll fix that in a second. You're gonna wipe your tile probably 5 or 6 times, honestly. We figure about 3 times, but it turns into more. It's because this stuff has a lasting impression on the tile. It becomes, when it's almost completely clean, it becomes hazy. You still have another 3 washes after that. Last wash is always with vinegar and water.
At the bottom of the ocean, I'm at the bottom of the sea. Don't know if I'll make it back home. I'm just stuck here in a dream.
Alright, tile's clean, tub's clean, and grout is dry. So now we're gonna caulk. Here we go.
For the ocean, I'm at the bottom of the sea. If I'll make it back home, I'm just stuck here in a dream. At the bottom of the ocean,